We're going to begin with the breaking news in Connecticut. Fotis Dulos, the man charged with the murder of his estranged wife, tries to take his own life.
Chopper 2 was over the scene as he arrived in a medical helicopter in the Bronx. He was then transferred by an ambulance to Jacobi Medical Center. CBS 2's Tony Aiello is live now at Dulos' home in Farmington, where he was found unresponsive today. Tony.
Christine, I'm just down the private road from the $4 million mansion Fotis Dulos built on spec and spent months desperately trying to sell. The 52-year-old facing bankruptcy, barred from seeing his 5 children, and looking at life in prison if convicted, now fighting for his life after a suicide attempt late this morning. Around 3:30 Tuesday afternoon, Fotis Dulos, on a stretcher hidden behind a sheet, was transferred from UConn Health Center in Farmington to another hospital better equipped to try to save his life. A life he apparently tried to end during a suicide attempt at his 15,000-square-foot mansion.
At about 11:54 hours this morning, officers from the Farmington Police Department were asked to respond to Mr. Dulos' residence for a well-being check because he was late for a court appearance tonight. When officers responded, they could see through a window that Mr. Dulos was sitting in his vehicle and he had obvious signs of medical distress.
Police say officers forced entry to the garage and started life-saving efforts for carbon monoxide poisoning.
Mr. Dulos was alone when officers located him. Officers on scene determined CPR was needed, and that was what was performed.
What followed was confusion, with multiple sources telling reporters Dulos had died, only to later confirm he had a faint pulse and doctors were trying to save him. Dulos was due in court in Stamford Tuesday on an emergency bond revocation hearing. He did not violate the strict terms of his house arrest, but the state was ready to argue the collateral posted was insufficient to secure the bond. CBS 2 has learned the Dulos legal team was in contact with famed New York bondsman Ira Judelson, who was ready to post a new bond for Dulos if necessary. Leaving court, Dulos attorney Kevin Smith was clearly shaken, but said little.
Folks, there's really nothing to tell you at this point. When we do have some information, we'll share it.
It's the latest shocking twist in the 250 days since Jennifer Farber Dulos disappeared from her New Canaan home. The mother of 5, presumed dead. Fotis Dulos facing life in prison if convicted on murder and evidence tampering charges.
Unresponsive in
Back live with a look at the memorial to Jennifer Farber Dulos, placed by members of a movement known as Justice for Jennifer. This memorial just outside the home that Fotis Dulos was living in. Many questions remain tonight that police have not yet answered. Was there some kind of suicide note left there? What was the protocol for getting Fotis Dulos to court? He was wearing a GPS ankle bracelet and his movements were being monitored. It's not clear why we got so close to the noon court time before they realized that he hadn't made his way to Stamford. To recap, about an hour ago, Dulos was airlifted to Jacobi Medical Center in the Bronx to be treated in the oxygen-rich hyperbaric chamber. He is in critical condition after a suicide attempt at his home. Live in Farmington, Connecticut, Tony Aiello, CBS 2 News.